Fraction, boys and girls. I have a little subheading on today, and it will be very short and simple and to the point. The book just calls this little section here, drawing pictures of fractions. Drawing pics of fractions. And for example, here is one. Draw 3 squares and shade. Draw 3 squares and say shade, yeah, shade 1/2 of it 3 different ways, and shade 1/2 of them in different ways. In different ways. Now, let me throw this at you. Listen carefully, because there are certain things that make the teacher very happy, and when the teacher's very happy, you're very happy because he generally just is a much easier to get along sort of person. Frankie will be able to tell you that on your homework paper, each and every little box is split up into little teeny tiny boxes, yes? There's a reason for those little teeny tiny boxes, and that is so that you don't have to guess where lines go. You can actually put them there. In other words, this. Let me give you the whole deal here. Let's pretend that this is the problem. It's problem number 1. So on your homework paper, you've got a rectangular box like this, right, that has a 1 in it. And then for each box, it's split into littler squares like this. Not real dark, but kind of like this. There's little squares like this, like this, like this, like this. And you being in 5th grade now and not wanting to be treated like a 1st or 2nd grader will understand that there's certain expectations that come with 5th grade. And that would be this. If I'm going to draw squares, it's pretty easy to follow the lines that are given here. Look, let's do this. Look. This is a nice square. It's a 2 by 2 by 2 square. You don't have to necessarily use rulers, but please try to follow the nice straight lines that are given there, right? You with me on that? Kind of like 5th grade work here. So you want to do 3 of them. So here's 1. Draw the next one the same exact size. And draw the 3rd one. I guess we could draw one like this down here, so we got some room. Now what they're asking is, they want you to shade half of them 3 different ways, which means there are a bunch of different ways you can cut a square in half, or show that you have half of a square shaded. The most obvious way probably is to just do what? Cut it down the middle and then shade like this, right? Because this is half of that square. Well, another way is you could do what? Colton, how else could I cut a square in half? Oh yeah, put a slash, which we call what in our little vernacular? A diagonal. So that's another way to shade half of it. How about another way? Frankie?
Draw the bottom, like the bottom right hand corner shaded in, then the top left hand.
Frankie's getting a little creative here on us. He says, well, draw shade in the bottom quarter and shade in the upper left hand quarter. And that's still a half of it, right? What else could we have done? Well, we could have cut the square like this and shaded on this side of it. We could have used a different diagonal, right? That's still shaded in half of it. We could have shaded it like this. Or you could have shaded these 2 or those 2. So there's a bunch of different ways. But please, 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 anytime you're asked, especially to draw rectangles, squares, or anything, use those lines that you're given, because it just makes your work look so much nicer. Or how about this one? Another one. Draw a rectangle and shade a third of it. Draw a rectangle, shade 1/3 of it. and I'll give you clues. If you want to draw a nicer rectangle, I've probably told you this before. Every straight line, you should pick up your pencil off the paper. In other words, a rectangle has how many sides?
4.
You should pick your pencil off the paper 4 times to draw your rectangle. A lot of people just want to draw the rectangle like this. Well, when you do it, you get all these goofy little roundy looking little corners. If you take your pencil and take it off the paper every time, draw this line, draw this line, draw this line, draw that line. Doesn't that look so much more nicer? Alright, if I'm shading a third of a rectangle, which way would be the best to do it? Brian says?
To divide it, so
Which way would you divide it, sir?
vertically.
Vertically. Now, here's another little helpful hint. Rather than drawing lines right away, because you know you got to cut these lines into how many pieces? 3. You could just put a little tick mark here and a tick mark there and look at that and go, do those look equal? Well, not really. Maybe I should move this one over a little bit, move this one over a little bit. Then when you get it kind of close, then you could draw your lines. Shading a third of it, you could shade obviously this third, or you could shade the middle third, or the left-hand third, or you could, go horizontally and shade a third of it. There's no right, wrong way. It doesn't give you specific things there. Now, what about circles? What if I were asked to shade, gosh, I don't know, 3/8 of a circle? Circles are not as easy to draw, in my opinion, as squares or rectangles, but I guess we could do a job on that. Here's my circle. It's not terribly bad. If you're splitting a circle, circles are easy to cut into halves, quarters, eighths, sixteenths. Why? Because you can just keep cutting them in half. In other words, this. If I want half a circle, I can just do this, and there's my half a circle, right? If I want a quarter of a circle, or to cut my circle into 4ths, I just cut each half into a half, right? And it's like this. If I want 1/8 of a circle, what am I going to do? Cut each half, and again, I would maybe put some slash marks so I can kind of get some good idea where half is. It goes through the middle. There's that one. There's 1/8. And if I'm going to shade 3/8 of it, boy, there's 1,000 different ways you could do this, probably literally. You could shade this little piece, and this little piece, if you like. Or you could shade 3/8 that aren't even close. Here's my circle. Quarter. I could shade this 1/8, this 1/8, and this 1/8. You could shade just gazillions of different ways that are neither right nor wrong. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is really, I think it's, I don't think it's really terribly difficult. This is just the beginning of some fraction stuff that we're going to do, so they want you to get to be able to shade and draw stuff first.